go through most of the divisions, kind of like work our way through it, kind of plan everyone's lives for them. Let's do the promoters' jobs for them.
That's it. And see get right by the end of the year.
Probably not a lot, but we'll see. It will be. Yeah, we can watch this back in December and see what we got. But let's start with super middleweight. So obviously we have Franchon Crews-Dezurn, who is the undisputed champion at this weight. I'm going to start actually quite interestingly. She said that she would like to fight for the IBM. She would like every single belt. And there's always mixed opinions on the IBO. Some people say, and I know it's not part of the big four to become undisputed. I think you've mentioned this in the past where in women's boxing it is slightly different. It is an important belt to have, and it is, you still get paid decent money if you hold it. What do you think Franchon has got kind of set out for her this year?
Well, I'd like to see some big fights, obviously. Because I think we were talking about this last week, how she's so under sort of the radar a little bit, where she should be much more known. She's undisputed. She has some cracking fights. She's got the entertainment value, personality, everything. I'd like to see her in some mega fights. I think she's already talked about Hannah Gabriel's matchup, which Hannah Gabriel's is trouble is with the heavyweight. So we started super middleweight because there is obviously the heavyweight divisions, but not every belt has not every sanctioning body has a belt there. It's all very this. So a couple of them have light heavyweight, a couple of them have heavyweight. But I know anybody that's got a belt, it's because it's Hannah Gabriel's because I think she's cool. But unfortunately, there's not a huge amount of competition up at that weight for her. So it would be great to see Hannah Gabriel's come down and fight Franchon because we know she's a great fighter. She's the only person to have put Clarissa down on the canvas. I know Clarissa, she was early on a pro. She was a little bit sort of weight drained that fight, but still, what a crack.
Shows she can bang though, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I think this is a great fight and I'd love to see it. I really would. I think it's a great one. I know as well that Franchon had been looking at Savannah Marshall. So I think that would be a great fight as well. Savannah for Clarissa, now go for Franchon. What a double fight. But maybe Savannah should have a fight in between. I don't know. What do you think?
I definitely think Savannah needs a fight in between. I think I mentioned this last week where I want to see Savannah go like 10 rounds where she's obviously, you need her to win that fight. Otherwise the other fights are in jeopardy. But I just wanted to see like 10 hard rounds to see how good her engine is. I know she went 10 rounds against Clarissa, but I don't know if at times, I think the pace might have got to Savannah at times, especially the first round. The pace was so high that I don't know if at times Savannah had to back off maybe a little bit because she possibly could have gassed out. So I'd like to see Savannah go 10 hard rounds with someone, then go with Franchon. Or the winner of Franchon and Hannah Gabriel's, who that's a close fight. I like that fight. That fight looks like it's next. Hannah Gabriel's, I didn't know has been as low as welterweight.
That's crazy. I
2009.
Yeah.
So we are a long time ago. I highly doubt she'd want to go all the way back down there, but she can obviously move down. So I like that fight with Savannah having the winner, and then the winner of that has Clarissa. But it doesn't have to work like that because obviously Savannah has activated a rematch clause with Clarissa, so I presume that's guaranteed. But I would definitely want to see Savannah and it's hard. I don't know who against necessarily. I was trying to think like who has she not fought that she could fight next, but I just feel like she needs 10 rounds to prove, I suppose, even to herself. I don't know. She lacks a bit of confidence sometimes, Savannah, like prove to herself that she can go 10 rounds at a high pace. Because that's something she's going to need against Clarissa. She can't just rely on hoping that she lands a massive, one-punch knockout. I think she has to prove that she can go 10 rounds at a high pace, which is where she would have lost on rounds against Clarissa. So that's where I'd like to see for her. But in the meantime, if Franchon Crews and Hannah Gabriel's fight, hope it's on a big platform. I don't know what Franchon's situation is. I know she was signed to Eddie Hearn for that undisputed fight, but I don't know if that was a one-fight deal or what's going on. I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, it'd be great to see her back on a big platform like Matchroom. I mean, it's a shame they couldn't get her on the 4th of February.
Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, I wonder, like I said, because I don't know what her contract situation is, but if she is eyeing up Savannah, it would be great for her to do a fight in the UK, like
Yeah,
Hannah Gabriel's, build up her profile a little bit like, not that Clarissa needed her profile building up. Obviously, Clarissa come to Cardiff and then fought Savannah. So if they'd done something similar like that, and like we spoke last week, Franchon's such a good character. Like, we just want to see more of her. I want her more on the TV, more in the ring, punditry, commentary, whatever she fancies. Like, she's brilliant.
yeah.
Outfits are unreal all the time.
And how she comes in so stylish. I
Yeah.
just, even like from the minute she walks out, what she's going to wear, just the whole thing, she just puts on a show. Another one I'd like to see at super middleweight is Christina Hammer.
Yes.
Away for a while, dabbled in the amateurs, like a few of them have. Hasn't done a huge amount since she fought Clarissa Shields, but she's still very skilled. She's still, I believe she's still got something to give. So I would still quite like to see that matchup with Franchon as well.
Maybe that against Savannah.
Yeah, that would be a
That
good.
could be a decent little fight, actually. I mean, yeah, or Franchon. I like Christina Hammer, actually. I quite enjoy watching her. Like you said, she went back to the amateurs.
Yeah.
But and we all know our opinions on that. But but yeah, maybe, I mean, that could be, I mean, there's your 10-round tough fight for Savannah, isn't it? With winner getting Franchon. Yeah. There's also Shadeja Green,
Yeah.
who is coming up now. She's rumored to be on, well, I say rumored. She's not on the fight poster, but Amanda Serrano
Yeah.
implied that she's on the card, so I'm presuming she's on the card.
I reckon so, because Amanda Serrano is good friends with her, isn't she?
Yeah, she speaks very highly of her as well, so I'm presuming Amanda would have had a bit of a say of getting a fighter on, and that might be a pick. She's very good and underrated. She's 11-0. I like, she's one that's coming through. I don't know if she should be fighting any of these girls in that fight, obviously, but these are some people she could be fighting at the end of the year for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. Yeah, because at this weight, there aren't the amount of fighters as perhaps some of the lower weights. So if you're good, you get up to the
Yeah.
top. So you're right. I think, yeah, by the end of the year, if she's getting on big platforms and putting stuff out there, then I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have someone like Amanda Serrano back you as well. Like, say, she gets on a Matchroom show, shows how good she is.
Yeah.
Because she is very, very good. Like you say, the depth might not be there, but it's still a very, very high level. It's still a very elite level, just because the depth's not there. People always get confused, I think, on social media of like, oh, it's a rubbish division. Just because it's not got 300 people in it. Granted, it doesn't mean that it's not high quality, and she is someone that will bring even more quality to the division. I think the back end of next year. So I'm excited for that. So we'll see.
And also Ellen Cederus. Now, I know she obviously lost to Franchon. I don't want to see a rematch, but it'd be nice to see what Ellen does next. Because again,
She's another one for Savannah.
Yeah.
You know, when you're saying it out loud, Savannah probably has, 2-3 options there for a really tough test and fight before she goes in with Franchon or Clarissa.
Yeah.
There's some big fights, very entertaining fights as well to be made in that division. And they need to be on a big platform to show how good these higher divisions are as well, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So excited for that. Don't know what's going to happen. It will be interesting to see at the end of the year kind of who's remaining with the belt. Will it be Franchon, Savannah, Shadeja Green? Like, there's enough girls to have the pick, isn't there?
Yeah, it's actually very exciting.
And then let's move on to middleweight. We all know who it is. Clarissa Shields, undisputed. What are we feeling for that one? Obviously, there's no one for the IBO. Again, I'm pretty sure Clarissa tweeted off the back of this that she's never been offered to fight for the IBO. But I don't think she would go out of her way necessarily. But it's there, I suppose, for one of the other girls coming through. She is only doing one fight this year in boxing. Who do you think it's going to be against?
Well, it's going to be Savannah, isn't it? If it's the rematch.
No.
Do you not think it's going to be done this year? If it's going to be else they both fight first?
I just don't see time and why is it working out? I don't know. I mean, I'm saying that I don't know when her one fight is. Is her one fight the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year? I suppose that makes the difference. She's
Yeah,
keeping it all secret, actually.
yeah, because I don't know what the plan is for the. I'm not on top of the MMA side for her. I'm not sure what the plans are for that side.
I don't believe anything's being announced. Obviously, she's within a contract, obviously, and then they were very good and moved it all and for that reschedule fight. But I don't know, one fight. Savannah needs. I know Ben Shalom was quite adamant when he said he thinks Savannah would like 2 more fights
Yeah,
prior to that. So I just don't know timing wise whether it'll fit in. I suppose it just depends when Clarissa's
yeah.
planning on doing it. I have no idea, I suppose. But no, I don't see it happening this year.
Well, obviously we know that Natasha Jonas is all up for fighting Carissa.
Yeah.
Would that be a fight before?
No.
No.
Because
Oh.
no. I just feel like she's gonna have to fight a mandatory, isn't she?
What do you think?
I feel like this year she's only gonna fight a mandatory, and then next year's her big, big, massive year in boxing. I feel like this is her MMA year, and I don't to be honest, I don't see the fight happening with Tasha Jonas, I'll be honest. I don't see it. If it did, it'd be a big fight, but I just don't see it happening. I'm not convinced by the Savannah fight this year.
Mm.
Again, could be wrong. Hope I am, 'cause I would love to see that. But at the same time, I would like Savannah to have her moment this year in the sense of a couple more big fights, big paydays, and things like that.
I feel like we'll see growth in Savannah. I really do, because, like you said, she hadn't had that huge amount of experience of the 10 rounds. She's been knocking everyone out. She gets that more ring experience, she could be a completely different fighter.
That's what I mean. If she goes in with a couple, the people that we mentioned prior, she's got 3 options there of really tough fights, either Franchon as an undisputed champion or former world champions there. If she'd done that this year, I think her stock would go up.
Mm.
That fight, that rematch is worth even more money. So I don't even know if I want to see it this year, to be honest. I think I do want to see Savannah go on her own path. I think it'd be quite nice for Clarissa to have a in a way, MMA. Yeah, I know she's got things she wants to achieve there, and then they kind of meet back next year. So I've just got a feeling this year with the middleweight, I feel like Clarissa will just have to do a mandatory because they come about. Obviously, she can't if she's only got one boxing fight this year. She's going to have to work something out, isn't she? Or she'll be stripped if we're looking at what's happened in some of the divisions as of late.
Yeah, they've been stripping a lot lately, haven't they? So,
yeah, which is right and wrong. So,
do we know who's managed at this weight of some of the belts?
I have no idea.
Mm.
Good point. We should have looked into that. We'll let you know next week.
So that I'll tell you one fighter who's always itching to have a go at Clarissa Shields has been Raquel Miller.
Yeah.
For a long time. Unfortunately, Raquel, who early days was phenomenal, has sort of ended up not fighting for one reason or another. But because of how good that build-up would be and how bitter their rivalry is, I mean, what a fight that would be, because Raquel's still in all sort of lists for the belts at this weight. She fought recently. She's still usually in the top 10s.
Yeah.
Quite often been in the top 5 for middleweights in the world. So that was a fight I'd quite like to see.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. That would be a good one. Like you say, just for the build-up alone. Clarissa's always in good build-ups.
If we see more of a sort of mandatory, I'd quite like that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I feel like that's what's going to happen this year. I mean, don't forget, you've always got Franchon Cruz Dezern as well against Clarissa Shields. They've said they will be open to that fight, but it has to be for huge amounts of money, which makes sense. But yeah, I just feel this will be a slightly quieter year for Clarissa in boxing. I'm sure she'll go and achieve great things. But yeah, well, again, interesting because we don't know. We know Savannah's activated the rematch clause, but that could be penciled in whenever in a contract. So
where do you think it will be? Because obviously, being the winner of the first fight, obviously it can be more likely to, it can be in America because that's her right as sort of the champion. However, obviously they're pushing for it to even be in Newcastle, aren't they? For Savannah. Where do you think it'll end up being? Because I can understand it being in the UK more for money. I think it probably will still make more money in the UK. But obviously I can understand why Clarissa might want it in America because she is American and it's kind of like she's done the British thing now. She's gone to the Lion's Den. Now she deserves it in her hometown. What do you think?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Like, the fact that she come here for the first fight, she didn't have to. She did not have to. She held all the belts. She has the clout. She is pound for pound number one. But of course, it makes more money. Thank God they did. Huge event and a part of history of elevating women's boxing. But that fight has to be in America. It has to be that rematch. I don't agree with it. As much as I'd love it to be in the UK because it's so much easier for us to get to and a lot cheaper for us. Of course, I'd love it in the UK. But I think it'd be pretty disgraceful, to be honest, for it to be here for many reasons. Because not only is it her hometown, of course, well, like, you know, she needs, wherever it is in America, that's her home. That's where she needs to go. Also, I know women's boxing is bigger in the UK, but American boxing needs that fight to elevate it.
Yeah.
So if we're putting that in the UK, I feel like we're doing a bit of a disservice to American boxing, because what an opportunity to create fans of women's boxing, to create a new audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be quite well, I don't even know if I'd be shocked. I mean, the fact that they're even mentioning Newcastle, no disrespect to Savannah Marshall, of course she's going to push for it, that's why she wants it. But to the, you know, to everyone else involved, surely they can't really think that Clarissa's going to go, yeah, of course, well, I won, I've got all the belts, but I'll come to you again. No, don't agree with it. But I don't know, but I do understand what everyone says about that's where it makes money. But I think, like, they took the risk on the all-female event and it paid off. I feel like they're going to have to take a bit of a risk, because they're going to obviously have to be paid even more money this time around for the rematch. I think they're just going to have to take a risk because it needs a headline. There's no question about that. I don't want to see another all-female event, though. I want to see, we'll talk about it maybe, but I like the New York card coming up in February, where it's a female heavy card, but just because it is, not because they're making a point of it, just because they're the fights that people want to see. So I want to see something like that. I want to see that headlines, because it's meant to headline with just a card, an undercard on it type thing. But it has to be in America. Has to be. If that fight can't headline in America, you're going to struggle to pick some, you know, more up this year that will headline in a big capacity. So,
and like you say, we quite often see the American fighters complaining on Twitter that they just don't have a platform or a voice. There's a lot more, it's the fighters that are signed to Matchroom or Boxer who seem to be getting the limelight. A lot of it because the promotions are from Britain, so obviously they've got more of a British stable, so that's why. But yeah, I can understand their frustration because they're seeing all these fighters getting their opportunity and they want their opportunities. So yeah, it would be if America doesn't get the fight and to highlight some of the fighters over there.
And what it should be then, like it was in this country, where I know we had Ginny Fusion, that was it from America, apart from obviously the main and co-main, but on the undercard, it was very Brit heavy. It was all the British prospects. What an opportunity then. Like I said, I don't particularly want an all-female card again, but what an opportunity for men and women who don't get the platform to be given that platform. And that, I think, for many, many reasons, take away the money. It has to be. I think that has to be where an investment for the long run. They might not make as much as they would here, but maybe in 12 months it'll pay off. So, and I can't imagine. I mean, Clarissa has the say, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's not going to go, okay, yeah, I'm because she's got so many options to who she can fight. She's not desperate enough to be like, oh, well, I really need this fight, so I'm going to have to go to Newcastle. So it's not going to happen. I'd be very shocked. Unless, I think you'd be talking like silly amounts of money you would have to offer, like silly amounts. So I don't see it happening. And I wouldn't like it. I want another trip to America anyway, so. Moving on to super welterweight, we'll carry on talking about Clarissa Shields, actually.
Yeah.
But first, we will go through who the champions are. So, of course, we have Terry Harper with one of the belts, that's WBA. Tasha Jonas obviously won the 3 belts in 9 months. And then Femke Hermans won the IBO very recently, and very surprisingly, in my opinion, against Mary Spencer. So fair play to her. She shows that she is still a world level fighter as well.
Yeah.
No undisputed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Everybody listening to this knows what we think, that we would love to That was the fight they were expecting to see. That's the fight we assumed was going to happen, and doesn't seem likely to be happening anytime soon. I'm still hoping for the future it will happen.
Oh yeah. Do you think? Because I think this is Tasha Jonas's last year in boxing.
Do you think?
Yeah, only because I think I'd read a couple of times that she was even planning on retiring last year. Obviously, I know her life is different now that she's a world champion and stuff, but I think this is her last year. I'd be shocked if we saw her next year. I don't know, like, so it's like, I don't know, maybe they're holding out for like the last hurrah. It might be her last fight at the end of the year, but they've just gone a funny way about her, I suppose. I'm not too sure. It's a funny one, isn't it? But we don't see that happening. So Lee Wood and Lara have just been announced for Nottingham.
Yeah.
In February, it was rumoured that Terry Harper will be on that card. I know she wanted Cecilia Brackhouse. I don't think that'll be the next fight. I'd love it to be a fight in the future. Be great to have Cecilia Brackhouse in the UK fighting. Yes. Be a great fight. So who do you think Terry's fighting next? Because she's made it clear she only wants big fights. And they're not always possible, obviously. You're not always going to get the biggest of names all the time.
Tricky, because everybody I'd wanted to be fighting doesn't seem to be going to be the next fight, if you know what I mean. Because there's plenty that I'd like to see Terry fight. McCaskill, Breakhurst. I'd like to see her up against Clarissa Shields. That'd be an interesting fight.
What about Femke Hermans though?
Yeah,
is that a possible fight?
That would be an interesting.
She was stripped of the IBO after she won it. I think the day after she was stripped of it, which is just madness. Wouldn't it be nice to? I like that fight. It'd be nice to win back the belt that you were stripped of. Bit of like, oh, fuck you, because now I've got it back. You can't strip me again now.
Now that would be a statement in itself.
Yeah, I just like that fight. I think it'd be great for many reasons. I think Femke Hermans is tough. We've seen it in with some of the world's best as well. So I always think it's quite nice then to see, probably, you can kind of gauge levels then of really where Terry's at this weight as well. So I quite like that fight. I don't know if that, because Femke's obviously not long won that belt, so I don't know if that's possible turnover wise if it was February, but that's a fight I'd quite like to see.
Yeah. I loved how emotional she was, Femke, like how much it meant to her getting that belt. There was she's had tears in her eyes crying about it like afterwards, and I think that's really nice. But I think I think she wants these big forms and these big shows. So to be honest, I think if she gets offered it, I think she'd say yes. She's not the type to sort of hide away. I think she'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'd take it. She's quite comfortable fighting the best of the best, isn't she? And she's happy to fight on people's back doors. So I think she would take it. I don't know time-wise whether it would have all worked out for her, but it's a fight I would like to see. Like I say, don't know if it's possible.
She doesn't live a million miles away. It's nice and close. So
yeah, true. It's not. Yeah, she's not too far, which is handy. I mean, other people, when we've done our divisional posters, some people put they reckon it'll be Hannah Rankin against Femke Hermans, as Hannah trying to get back the world title.
Yeah, I could see why that would be quite good for Hannah to do that. Yeah, wait and see what happens. I mean,
I don't know if I like it though. I love Hannah Rankin, I really do. I love watching her fight. I think she's super tough. We say her career's been unbelievable, but she did lose the belt. The belt was then only vacant because it was stripped. So I don't know if I like. I just suppose like the journey to it, if that makes sense. I just feel like
it's a bit sneaky almost, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it. So I'm not a fan of the fight for that reason. I'd prefer the Terry and Femke fight if that was to happen. But then there's loads, like you say, there's Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah.
Her and Terry have been clear that they'd quite like that fight.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Jessica next because she's quite a funny one at the minute with what's going on with her. But that's a great fight. Mary Spencer, has she lost some stock now that she's got beat?
I mean, obviously, it has taken a blow, hasn't it? Because she was on her way up. It seemed like nothing was going to derail her. And suddenly this came out of nowhere with Femke. No one had Femke winning that, which is surprising, really, when you think about it, because Femke is tough. She is a world-class fighter.
Yeah.
and the best that she's come up against, really. But I feel like she, Spencer's early enough in her career to come past it. So, she comes back and beats, whatever challenge, comes back to the same level, goes beyond it, then I think that's fine. Her stock's fine then. It's when you keep losing, I think, beyond this. But I think she's early enough on for it to just be a
I think she will recover, but she was calling out Clarissa Shields, and I've always got a bit of a pet peeve with this, actually in sport in general. I really dislike and find it very stressful when someone is bypassing the fight that they're about to have because they're talking about the next one. And it is always a sign, and I'm always then convinced that boxer or whoever team, whatever sport, will lose. And it happens quite a lot. And Mary Spencer was bypassing the Femke Hermans fight prior to having it and talking about the Clarissa Shields fight. Yeah. Now you've got an issue because now you've lost. Your stock has dropped enough to you're not in contention for Clarissa in the next 12 months.
No.
But I rate Mary Spencer very high, and she's dangerous. We know she can punch, and she can obviously bang. So yeah, she's another one up there potentially. I mean, you've got quite a few. Cecilia Brackhouse, obviously, who we mentioned, love to see that fight. Tasha Jonas, Clarissa Shields. I know we've just spoke about that. Nah. Don't know if it'll happen. It won't happen. I don't know. I was going to say I don't think it'll happen this year, but if it doesn't happen this year, I don't think it will happen. Let's say, because I'm quite interested about this. Let's say Tasha doesn't get the Clarissa Shields fight.
Yeah.
She doesn't want the Terry fight. What's she going to do? Because I think she'll vacate.
This is where I'm stuck. Like, lots of people are saying, well, Tasha's got a lot of options. And there are a lot of people, but there just seems to be a block on most of the options, doesn't there?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm super baffled when people go, she's got a lot of options. And I'm like, I think I'm missing something because I don't see them.
Well, there are names, but there's blocks. Because obviously,
that's what I mean. Like, we can all pluck names out, can't we?
She said no to Terry. She clearly made it clear she didn't want Mary Spencer before. So, and definitely not now, I'd have thought. So, yeah, we're running out of options, aren't we, really? I mean, Brackus maybe as well, but... and then, obviously, Clarissa Shields. So, like, yeah.
I just feel like at this weight, she's not got a ton of options. And then when people were mentioning other names, but they're all tied up. So...
yeah,
for any fighter, you could probably mention 10 names that anyone could fight, but it doesn't work like that because they're all tied up. So
yeah,
I don't quite. If she holds on to the belts in this division but doesn't get the Clarissa fight and doesn't want the other fight, I don't know what she's to do. Yeah. Like, genuinely, I have no idea. Like, because if it's the last year or she is coming to the end of a career, whether it is the next 12 months or a bit longer, this is all about make as much money as you can.
They want the big.
So I don't get what, like, mandatories aren't going to give you the most money that you can. So I'm a bit confused.
That's not going to happen. Because and it's Matchroom. Someone mentioned Chantel Cameron. Well, again, it's Matchroom. They're not going to give her that fight. So there's just so many the big fights that I just can't see happening. I can't think of a fight that will happen.
No, I'm a bit baffled by it. So, but I don't know. I think she might have to vacate though, because not on whether she vacates and somehow does get an opportunity at lower down. Maybe I'm not sure. I actually don't know. It will be interesting to see after, but hopefully they decide quickly because she had such a good year last year. I'm sure she wants. I know she was quite keen on obviously having a rest and a break, which is what she deserved. But it'd be quite nice to get the ball rolling. But yeah, I don't know what. I couldn't even hazard a guess at who her next fight will be. Unless it's a mandatory, but I could not tell you anyone else.
It's mandatory. Is Mary Spencer still mandatory, or has she dropped down the ratings? I mean, they don't sort of redo their ratings very often, so I suspect she's number one at the moment. So
maybe it's a strange one. So this is a division that I couldn't, like, I have no idea what's going to happen. No idea. Because if there's no opportunity for undisputed, someone's going to have to vacate because you don't want to be like stuck in the mud, do you, with no opportunities? And I don't know. It's a very, very strange one, but there are big fights out there.
Yeah.
So hopefully you know, like, especially for Terry, who's named a handful, there's massive, massive fights to be happening this year.
It could be a big curveball that happens that we don't see. It'd be like, wow, that's just
Yeah.
shit.
I have a feeling, though, that in not Terry's next fight, the fight after, it could be Jessica McCaskill. So let's go on to the welterweight. So it's still, we think Jessica McCaskill is still undisputed, but there's always that. Someone said she was stripped and someone was fighting, Jessica Kamara was fighting for the WBA, but I don't think anything ever come of that.
No, I think she's been told it's okay now, but I don't know. We just don't get told, do we? You hear rumours and
yeah, I don't know.
And then you put your poster out, obviously, about Ivana Habazin. It's been told that fight's got to be made.
So this is really interesting. So Jessica McCaskill's in quite an interesting position. So obviously done that poster about Ivana, who luckily saw it, because I feel like she then kind of offloaded on Twitter kind of what had been happening. So that was good, because I hadn't heard anything. And basically Ivana has said that Eddie Hearn doesn't want the fight to happen. So even though the fight has been ordered by the WBA.
Oh, by two, didn't she say there was two of the sanctioning bodies that ordered it?
Potentially. I know one is definitely the WBA.
Yeah.
And potentially, I think she has said there was another one. So you've got two sanctioning bodies, obviously, are ordering that fight. Nothing's come about it. She's then come on Twitter and said that Eddie does not want the fight to happen, which would say to me that there's other fights lined up.
Yeah.
For Jessica. So initially I thought with the Chantal Cameron rematch, but I know Rick Ramos, who Rack interviewed for us for our channel, come out and said that he wants Jessica to have a couple of fights before looking into that rematch. I don't see them taking the Chantal Cameron rematch at welterweight. Personally, I would be quite surprised. But I know Jessica and Terry have mentioned the fact that they would like to fight. So I've got a feeling that Jessica will fight someone.
Yeah.
Similar to Terry is fighting someone, and then they potentially will meet after. And whether that's why, because I feel like Eddie's planned out a couple of fights for Jessica for that fight to be like an absolute no. Just because otherwise, yeah. Because I'd quite like that fight against Jessica and Ivana.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great matchup.
I think it would be close, in my opinion. I think it'd be quite a close fight. So whether that's why, I don't know. But it's being ordered, but nothing's happened. And each body does something different. Like, you know, we've seen in some cases, like Choi, for example, it's fine for quite a long time. And then we see with others where it's like, no, even if you've got a mandatory and a fight signed for, you cannot do that. You've got to fight your mandatory. So there's no consistency. So who knows? But I just feel like something's being kind of like sorted for Jessica for this to have threw a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But let's say Jessica would move. I mean, if Jessica is to face Terry Harper, Jessica mentioned her moving up. So again, Jessica's belts are protected.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there, because she moved down for Chantal, but she still got her undisputed. And then I remember her saying that she wanted to move up to Terry, like the challenge of moving up in weight. And I was like, Jesus Christ, when are you going to defend your own belts? Like, you've had them for ages. But so that's a fight that could happen. Then you've got the Chantal fight rematch at welterweight, where she would have to defend her own belt, and then Ivana, who's mandatory, and defend her own belts. What will happen? Could you even hazard a guess? Like, first 6 months, what's going to happen with Jessica McCaskill?
It's all down to who's got the money, the politics, and all that, really, isn't it? Because Ivana got enough people backing her to push the fact that she's being made mandatory, you know, being forced to have that fight. If there's no one backing her strong enough, it's just Eddie's got the power to override that, probably, I would have thought.
When you just love some consistency, where it's like, I think there needs to be a balance between, I think mandatories are important because everyone deserves a chance, and then I think the super fights need to happen. So I think it kind of needs to be like, you have a mandatory, a super fight, a mandatory, super. 4 fights a year in the perfect world. Not that anyone fights 4 times a year anymore. That would be nice as well. But it's like, where's the consistency? Because there's a fighter we'll talk about later in one of the lower divisions was stripped because she was injured. But then other people have held on to a belt and not defended them and not done mandatories. And then, so very, very strange. But there are also 2 British fighters that I think could be in contention, maybe at the end of the year. So I've got my picks of Dee Allen.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know, am I going to be brave enough to say it? I think she could beat Jessica McCaskill now.
That's a big
That's
thing.
bold, isn't it? I feel like she could. I feel like if they fought next month, I genuinely would put money on Dee Allen to beat Jessica McCaskill. Feel quite brave saying that. And then I've got
her team would put her in there tomorrow, to be fair.
Her team would put her in there tomorrow. Very, very confident in Dee Allen. And so I think so they should be. I like Dee Allen. I think she's a great fighter. She's really entertaining to watch. I've also got Kirsty Babington.
Yeah, Bavo,
I rate her. I think she'll be a world champion, you know.
Yeah. She's a dark horse because
she is a dark horse.
She goes along doing her own sweet thing and just getting higher and higher and doing amazing. And
yeah,
like, oh my God, she's European. Oh, now she's this. She's just quietly getting on with it.
I love it. I mean, the time that we've seen her on the big stage, obviously she fought Sandy Ryan.
Yeah.
She just didn't seem herself. I mean, listen, Sandy's a fantastic fighter. Don't get me wrong. I did tips that I thought Sandy would win that fight, but the actual fight, she just didn't seem herself at all. I don't think she looked great that fight. And she goes, and then Boxer go, we'll have her against April Hunter because she looks, yeah. And then she goes and beats April Hunter looking great. She looked good doing it. Like you say, she's just quietly got on with it now. Like she's doing the ladder, stepping up, and like you say, she's got European. She defended it. I believe I don't know how true this is, that April Hunter wants a rematch with her.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I don't think that's a good idea for April Hunter.
I've seen the back and forwards a little bit on Twitter and stuff, but yeah, no, I don't think it'll be happening anytime soon because she's still trying to find her feet with a new sort of coaching setup, isn't it? Because
she's still in between styles, isn't she? April Hunter.
She needs to establish herself and get her confidence and get footing first before she goes there, because, like you say, Bavo has just gone on ahead and got better and better. And her fan club, can I just say, she's got such a big fan club. I'm getting the messages on and DMs. Can you include Bavo? Can you put Bavo here? Can you
I love that. I love that though. Good. She does. She obviously sells tickets as well. Like, and she's only, last few have been on slightly smaller hall shows when you compare it to like Matchroom and Boxer. But I don't know. I think she's a dark horse. I think she'll do it in her own time. I don't think there's a huge rush. But having said that, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, it depends how the division plays out and stuff. But yeah, I think in the future, she's a world champion.
I know Deanne's team had wanted to have a match up with her. And there was talks about putting all the belts on the line between, the belts they got between. And adding maybe Commonwealth or something. There was talk of it. But whether that actually happens or not, I don't know. But I know that they were quite keen on that.
That'd be a huge domestic clash. That would have to be on a decent platform. Everyone needs to see that. That would be good. That would be good. I'd love to see that fight. So you've got them two as well come through. Obviously, there's tons more, but they were just two that kind of sprung to mind when I was thinking of welterweights and those coming through. So yeah, it's a funny one. We'll see. We'll see what Jessica's doing, whether she's going to fight a mandatory. Is she going to move up? Will she take the Chantel Cameron rematch? I mean, Jessica's got quite a few options, to be fair. I've said it for years. I like the Jessica and Tasha fight. Mm-hmm. So, maybe that's an option. I don't know. Super lightweight. And of course, super lightweight, undisputed champion, Chantel Cameron, which is very exciting. Obviously, she went on and she beat, I think it was the end of November, she defeated Jessica McCaskill to finally claim all of those belts.
And finally, because she's been working her way up for this for so long, so patient.
So patient. She has just got unbelievable patience, hasn't she? God love her. Like, you know, I think she had a tough couple of years, tough year where she just wasn't seeming to get fights, and then finally she has. So, and obviously she got undisputed. And for me, Chantal Cameron probably has the most options in the
Mhm.
sense of like huge fights. It's whether they will happen. But I just feel like you could just name so many, from lightweight to super lightweight to welter to super welter, who, and because she's undisputed, they'll all want to come and fight her. So who would you like to see Chantal Cameron fight? Not necessarily next, but what's like the big fight you want to see her in?
Well, obviously, my dream fight still would be Katie Taylor, which I don't think's ever going to happen. But I've been wanting this for such a long time. But no, I don't. I think because they want to make sure that Katie has her rematch with Amanda Serrano, that's going to be first. So whether that could come later on down the line, I don't know. I mean, it depends on the outcome of that fight, obviously, as well. But that would be my number one. Apart from that, to be honest, anyone. I just love watching Chantal fight. For me,
Yeah.
she's one of my favourite fighters to watch because I just feel like she's got it all. You know,
Yeah.
she's just strong in every area, I think. And I think that's exciting. She's exciting to watch. And I love the change because she's quite a quiet personality, isn't she? She comes across as so sort of polite, whatever, and then you get in the ring and you're like, oh my gosh, Chantal's like a beast because she just changes. You know, when she was like getting giving it all that, wasn't she, to Mary McGee? I was like, where's that come from? You know, she
Truth is that.
turns into that beast, and I love that.
Yeah, she's great, isn't she? And she is great to watch. I don't know, could we see the Katie fight the very end of the year? They're both undisputed.
Yeah, that would be marvelous. You know, if Katie beat Serrano, yes, please.
And that's the if, isn't it? It's if Katie gets through her fight, and what we'll talk about that next. If Chantal gets through, I'm presuming she's going to do a fight prior to that time. If they both win, that you'd have to make that the next fight. Surely. Doesn't get better, does it? Doesn't. But like you say, she's called for that fight a long time. It's not happened. Hopefully we'll look back and go, oh, well, it's a blessing it didn't happen because now look, it's worth all this. But I don't know how convinced I am. I don't know if she's being pushed away from the Katie Taylor fight. But Tasha Jonas, Chantal Cameron, someone called for that on Twitter. Yeah. Obviously, you've got Jessica McCaskill, Katie Taylor, Michaela Mayer.
Yeah.
But Michaela Mayer has made it very clear on a recent interview that she done that she really wants to gradually move up the weights.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to move all the way up too quick because she'll struggle to come back down.
Yeah.
And I think obviously she is holding out that again, we'll talk about this in a minute, but for that Baumgardner rematch eventually. But that is a potential fight, maybe the end of this year or the beginning of next year. If it was clear that either she is or isn't getting the Baumgardner, would she move up to super lightweight potentially? If she wasn't going to get the Katie fight, that's a fight I'd quite like to see. And another fight that people mentioned was Sandy Ryan.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that at the moment.
I'm not.
It's too much for Sandy just yet. Don't get me wrong, I think she's fantastic, and what she's done so far is phenomenal to step up as quick as she has. But I just think I'd love to see Sandy in some other fights first before she takes on Shanti. That's like just suddenly, jumping up too far for me.
Yeah, because you're talking in Chantal Cameron, like, I don't know where she is on the rankings, but top 5 pound for pound, in my opinion. I don't know whereabouts. I think she actually does sit around there now, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, most, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big jump, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe in the future, but quite a few people mentioned that fight next. And I was like Sarah, I rate Sandy Ryan, and she'll no doubt be a world. I'm sure she'll be a multi-weight world champion in the future, but she's being rushed once.
Yeah.
I just think take your time.
Yeah.
You know, have this year to have some big fights in her level, in her own right, because you've got world level and then you've got like your elite, haven't you?
Yeah.
And when you're talking about pound for pound, Chantal Cameron, she's elite. She's not just world level. So not for me, that fight. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think if not Katie Taylor, probably anyone we mentioned, to be fair, like you say, just anyone, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, would she like to be two-weight undisputed and take on Jessica at welterweight?
Yeah.
Maybe. Say again.
If she gets the opportunity.
Well, yeah, I think Eddie Hearn would be quite keen, but based on Rick Ramos and the first fight. But again, like, how long does Jessica have left in the game?
Yeah.
Is this her? I mean, I'm literally writing everyone off, to be fair. I've got like 10 boxers who I'm convinced are retiring at the end of the year. But I don't think Jessica looked great in her last fight, which is probably harsh because she was facing Chantal Cameron. But I think even Rick said in the corner, like, she just doesn't look like she turned up the first half. And is that a sign of getting older, a bit slower and things like that? I don't think she's got 5 years left.
No.
So when Rick's saying, oh, 2 fights then Chantal, feel like you just need to start taking these big fights, don't you?
Yeah.
I suppose if you lose too many, you lose the money.
Yeah. And also shout out for Kaylee Reese, because obviously Chantal would not have become undisputed without Kaylee giving up those belts, allow them to fight for them. Because Kaylee could have hung on to them and been awkward about it, but she's not like that. She wants to sort herself out, give other people the opportunity, and then hopefully get herself well. And if she's well enough to then want to come back, I'd like to see her coming back.
Yeah, it's such a good point. She obviously chose to vacate. Like you say, she did not have to. I don't think, with some, some, like we say, some people hold on. Obviously, she's not in health to fight at the minute. Funny enough, she come up on my Amazon Prime the other day because she's been doing some acting, hasn't she? So as I was like scrolling through, she was I actually can't remember what it was called now, but it was her face is like the main thing. So I'm gonna watch that. But yeah, she's obviously had to do some other things. She's doing some acting and things like that. Be great to see her back.
Catch a Fair One film.
That's it. And that's off. So it's on, I'm sure it was Amazon. It was on my Now TV box as I was flicking through. I'm sure it was Amazon. And I was like, oh, as if she was my best friend. I was like, there's Kaylee.
She won a fair few awards for that film.
I'm going to watch it. It's on scheduled it in on the weekend. I'm like, I've got to plan everything. Saturday, 7 p.m. Watch the Kaylee Reese film.
She's in Iceland at the moment filming for her next thing because she's
really?
alongside is it Jodie Foster, famous actress.
Oh yeah.
Did I say fighting? So she's filming. She's
filming,
not fighting.
Might be doing some fighting while she's there. And she might not get on with people.
It's True Detective, the latest season for that. She's in that one.
Oh, I had seen that. Yeah, that'll be good. I like stuff like that. But yeah, so obviously it's great. It's sad that she couldn't, because she's worked so hard.
Yeah.
And to finally get that opportunity and to not be in the right health to do it must be heartbreaking. But like I say, she's done the right thing, but not many others would do it, which is crazy. But yeah, she's not that type of person to hold on and kind of hold the division and hold people back. But hopefully she'll be back. Hopefully this is her year to make a comeback. She might need 1 or 2 fights and then get back into the mix, because she's an entertaining fighter to watch.
Yeah, definitely. She's got a lot of heart, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And if people watch back her fight against Breakhurst, some say she potentially won that fight and they feel like she won it. Was she the first one to ever
defeat? Yeah.
And also she's the first person to knock her down. So yeah. I haven't watched back on Kaylee Reese. Watch that fight.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. And yeah, she's a great fighter. So yeah, fingers crossed, because I'd love to see the Chantal Kaylee Reese fight, because that was the fight that we were all waiting for. So fingers crossed. Lightweight, again, probably doesn't need mentioning, but Katie Taylor, the long reigning undisputed champion of lightweight. And obviously she keeps herself to herself, Katie Taylor, and I'm not surprised, because everyone wants to fight her. Like, everyone loves her and has so much respect for her, but at the same time, everyone wants to fight her and take her belts. Like, no wonder she never turns up to anywhere, because she's like, no.
I think just about everybody's called her out, haven't they? Like, literally, it doesn't matter what way.
Yeah, every fighter. I'm surprised like Sinisa Estrada all the way at minimum weight hasn't been like, Katie, I'm coming for you.
Well, he has at some stage.
Yeah, probably. So we've got Katie Taylor. What I'm interested in, so I think basically it's confirmed that the Amanda Serrano rematch is going to happen at Croke Park. Date to be confirmed. I believe it's the beginning of May, but it was also meant to be the end of April. So at this point, what I believe will happen is they'll wait for the Serrano cruise.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned last week, check there's no cuts, bumps, bruises, and like how quick is Serrano going to go back into camp? Because obviously she's then got to put on 10 pounds of muscle as well, and things like that. So I presume it'll all come down to that. What I'm then interested to know is Katie Taylor going to have a fight prior to the Croke Park fight?
I've seen you put it out there, the question, and most people think no, it's too big a fight. She'll just put all, concentrate on that one, which I think is probably that. I mean, the only other fight that I see her doing is like just a keep busy fight.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be anything particularly big, just to tide her over and keep her busy.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because it'll be quite a while then from her last fight to the Serrano fight, and I know Katie typically does 3 fights a year. She likes to keep busy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not saying she doesn't look great in like some of these fights, but you're only as great as you need to be. She's not the most animated person. She obviously keeps herself to herself. Don't blame her. I would be the same. Not that I'm an undisputed world champion, but if I was, that is how I would be like Katie Taylor. But I just thought in the Serrano fight, it was the most animated we've seen her in the build-up. She actually looked like she was hyped and enjoying it in her own way. Obviously, she's not like running around with the top off and stuff, but she is doing what like she was doing. Like it's like animated we've seen her. And then the other fights, sometimes I don't know. No sounds mad. I feel sorry for her a bit because sometimes she must be like, oh, I've got a mandatory because she's just so good that she does want the Chantal Cameron fight probably, and she must be like, oh, bloody hell, another mandatory.
We've seen that a little bit with the Amanda Serrano, didn't we, in the last fight as well? I felt like Amanda just fought at what she needed to beat her. There wasn't as much excitement as it was facing Taylor.
Yeah, it was just, and I feel like this with Katie, because sometimes I think when we've watched the fight we talk about, sometimes I think, God, I'm really harsh on like the world's one of the best. But I think you have such high expectations. And then sometimes she just does exactly what she needs to do. And she wins every round. And it's nothing spectacular. And she might get hit a little bit, but it'll never hurt her. So I was like, well, what would she gain from one of them fights? Because she obviously doesn't have the same fire in her belly like she would against Serrano. So would it be better to put all your time now into not too long of a camp, obviously, but this is a great time to be working on things in particular for that Serrano fight, rather than going through a camp for a fight for the sake of it. Yeah. I don't know what. She's experienced enough where I don't think that one fight will make a difference. It's not going to make her like have ring rust, her not doing a fight prior, is it?
Tell you what would have been quite good is if they'd put her on the same card on the 4th as Amanda Serrano. Yeah. That would have been good.
Which is why what makes me think though is she not going to do it? But then I don't know, because how could you afford Amanda Serrano, Alicia Baumgardner, Katie Taylor? I mean, that's quite an expensive card, isn't it?
It couldn't have
I'm
been.
not paying for it. Yeah, Eddie Hearn's thinking,
like a different card, obviously, but
yeah, tickets would cost like $1,000 each, wouldn't they? You'd be like, gotta make some money back here. These are all expensive. Which is great how expensive they all are, by the way. Like, these women should be expensive.
Yeah, should be
yeah. But yeah, I feel like if nothing is announced in the next couple of weeks, then she's not fighting.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. I don't see her fighting personally.
No. Will then the fight we'll talk about Amanda Serrano more in a minute, but do you think that fight will be announced directly after Serrano, if Serrano wins?
Yeah. And I reckon they'll want to maximise the publicity as possible. So I would imagine, maybe Katie Taylor will be there, Madison Square.
Do you think she never turns up?
Maybe
she went to the Canelo one after she won, but you never see her, do you?
But then if it's to do with announcing the fight and building it up for Croke Park, I think she'd make an exception. That would be really good if they brought her in the woods, got the head-to-head again.
Yeah.
Square Gardens, where the last fight was, that would look great.
They're so polite there. They just smile at the head-to-head, don't they? Like, they're just so polite to each other. I love it. Yeah, I mean, And then someone mentioned, oh, well, if Amanda gets beat to Erica, then the fight doesn't happen. I was like, it does still happen because the featherweight fight has got nothing to do with the lightweight fight.
Yeah.
It definitely is better two undisputed facing each other, but it doesn't affect the fight.
I don't see Amanda Serrano losing that personally. It's a great fight, but I don't see Amanda winning.
So obviously we've got that fight in May. And we'll speak about it like as if she's going to win. Now, you know my opinion, I thought Amanda won the first one. So I definitely think this is another 50-50 fight. So it's quite hard to plan what Katie could do at the end of the year because you don't know if she's going to have belts or not. But for argument's sake, let's say she wins.
Mm-hmm.
What fight would you rather see? And you've got to pick. You can't sit on the fence, okay? Would you rather see Katie Taylor against Chantal Cameron or Katie Taylor against Michaela Mayer?
Chantal Cameron.
I thought it was going to be a tough one.
No, because I've wanted it for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would love. I love Michaela Mayer as well. I think she's a great fighter, but I've waited so long for Chantal Cameron. I want to.
Next time you see Eddie Hearn, you're going to be like, Eddie, I've waited so long for this. Like, you've got to make it happen. I'm fed up with waiting. I ran out of patience.
I asked him directly last time I spoke to him. I was bugging him about it even then.
And what did he say? Shut up.
Because I first needs to fight McCaskill. Like, he basically was trying to build up that she has to fight other people first, Chantal. And basically, like, McCaskill's almost like a gatekeeper. And I was like, right, so if she fights McCaskill, then she gets her opportunity. So now she deserves it.
She does. Yeah, fair play. I'll give you that one then. So, yeah, obviously you've got Chantal Cameron. And I mean, obviously, if Katie is still holding her belt, what a year that could be in the sense of, in theory, she defeats Amanda Serrano, who's an undisputed champion at a different weight. And then she would then fight Chantal Cameron, who's an undisputed. But you know what weight that fight would be at? That would not be at lightweight. Chantal Cameron fight.
Do you not think?
No, because worst case scenario, Katie's still got all the belts.
Yeah, I just don't see her moving up. She wasn't comfortable moving up, though.
I think she's making an exception to guarantee having belts.
Maybe. And I'll ask it to you. What would you prefer? Chantal Cameron or Michaela Mayer?
I think they're both very different fights, aren't they? So I'd like to see both.
Yeah.
Because I think they are very different fights, right from the build-up to the fight itself. You know, I'd love to see Michaela Mayer get another opportunity because it feels weird that she's not a world champion anymore. So I feel like in a rush for her to have a world title. Yeah. It was a bit like when Terry Harper wasn't a world champion. It felt weird. Yeah. Like it just doesn't suit, does it? You're used to saying like world champion Michaela Mayer, world champion Terry Harper. So I feel like I'm in a rush for her. When I listened to Michaela Mayer's latest interview, she was like, if I ever get offered the Katie Taylor fight, like snap it up. Otherwise, she's signed a 3-fight deal. So she's planning on having 3 fights at lightweight this year and either force herself to be mandatory or if I think by then she'll have a judgment of whether she'll have Alicia or not, which we'll talk about. And then she might move up. So I don't know. I suppose Chantal's been in the line longer, so I'll pick her. But I would be happy with either because I think they both bring something. A fight that was mentioned that I don't know if it was announced, I'd feel different, but at this moment I'm not overly bothered about. It's Katie Taylor, Alicia Baumgardner. Yeah. And I don't know why it is, but that fight doesn't grab me as much, and I don't know for what reason.
I just feel like, well, we know what our plan is. I want to see Alicia Baumgardner become undisputed.
Yeah.
At that way. Well, have the fight against LM Mekele because that's going to be no pushover. Let's face it. LM's actually a dark horse, to be honest, and that is a tough fight. People realise. She went toe-to-toe with Delphine Persoon in the last fight and won some of those rounds. So she's going to... But that's what I want to see first. I think that's why I can't see beyond that. I feel like this is there. She needs to get her division sorted. The reason why I feel like we feel easier thinking about Michaela Mayer, Chantal Cameron is they're not tied up in anything.
Yeah, so, and that's actually a really good point. I think that must be why, because when people are mentioning it, I'm like, oh, I don't know why I don't like it, but that must be why. Is that obviously she has that next fight, like you've just mentioned. So we'll move on to that now. Just want to make it clear because a couple of people commented on the Instagram and I actually just didn't have the energy to reply, where they says Choi is the WBA champion. The day she was vacated, the day she was stripped and then put down to champion and recess, I had a party. So I know that she currently does not hold the WBA and it is classed as being vacant. I just couldn't. Quite a few people. So now that we've cleared that up, because I was very excited when I heard that she was stripped. Also, I'll bring up Michaela Mayer again because I only listened to her interview today. She doesn't think Choi is really injured, and I was like, that makes two of us. Is Choi injured, yes or no, Susie?
Who knows with Choi?
Not. I know.
All signs point to probably not, doesn't it? Avoided everyone at every stage, hasn't she? I mean, it seemed hopeful when she first got signed to Matchroom and she had that fight in America and it seemed like the warm-up fight. And then nothing. So, yeah. I mean, to be honest now, she's become, no offence to her, unless she starts fighting some bigger names, she's become irrelevant now, hasn't she, really? Because...
No, she hasn't. Oh, for us, yeah. But she obviously fights in Korea, doesn't she?
Yeah.
South Korea.
She's big there. Yeah.
She's huge there. She makes so much money. She's genuinely one of the highest paid female boxers over there. It's the same. I always refer it to tennis. It's the same in tennis. Some people who might be ranked 50 in the world are earning more money than the number one because of the sponsorships and endorsements, and they're just huge over there. So for me, I knew she wouldn't take the fight. Remember when people said I was wrong on Twitter, Susie? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Wasn't bitter at all. I've not remembered everyone. I knew she wouldn't take the fight because I actually think she is worth more undefeated than as a champion.
Yeah.
So I think it makes in her country where she's fighting.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I've got that feeling. I think she makes a lot of money, and I think that's great. And do that. Like I would probably do the same if I'm going to be getting offered, however much she's getting offered over there, and half here. Then you know where you're going, but just don't hold the belt.
Yeah.
Don't hold the division back. So
yeah, like you say, she's relevant to what she does, but obviously, big fights for the belts. Yeah.
So she's relevant to what she does, like you say, in her country, but to the grand scheme of things, no, she isn't relevant. I think people have probably lost respect for how she's went about things by just point blank refusing to fight anyone. But the good thing is it's vacated, so obviously it'll be undisputed February 4th in New York. Who wins that fight?
Do you know what? I'm gonna have to say Bongada because I'm not betting against her anymore. This is it. Because she has proved herself time and time again. So I feel like the momentum's with her. She's in America. She wants to prove herself in her home country. It's a massive show. I think she's gonna do it. However, like I said, LM is no pushover, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of shock decision, upset.
It's a good fight.
Sorry?
It's a really good fight.
I don't think people probably, unless they're really into women's boxing, they probably don't realise how good she is. She went toe to toe with Delphi. She's been mandatory for a long time. She's been waiting for a chance. I'm really glad that she's got this chance, because she was waiting to fight Terry Harper quite a long while ago. Because she was mandatory at WBC down, at Super Feather. So I feel like, and also she gave up one time, didn't she? She retired.
Yes. So
I feel so happy that she had that Delphine Pursuing fight. She sort of had that big fight, and now she's got another big fight. So yeah, I'm pleased with her because no matter the outcome, I'm pleased that she's had that platform.
That's it. It's a huge, huge card, double header, undisputed. It's co-main, but again, it's one of them that it's so big, isn't it? You're going to feel like the main event coming out. So I'm so pleased for her. And I really like the fight. I'm so looking forward to it. It'll be closer, I think, than the Serrano Cruz fight. I am really, really looking forward to it.
Right.
But I'm not betting against Baumgardner. I mean, to be fair, we all knew the Baumgardner Mayer fight would be close. Obviously, we backed Mayer. I backed Terry Harper when it was Terry Harper Baumgardner. I'm not doing it no more. Not wasting my money anymore. So, no, listen, I think Alicia Baumgardner will come through that fight. But I like it. It's a good competitive fight. It's worthy of Undisputed. And I think that was my concern, is if it wasn't Elham or Pursuin, I was a bit like, oh, it's got to be worthy. Don't just put someone in for the sake of it. And I like this fight more than I would have liked the Choi Baumgardner fight.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think Ellen brings more to the table. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'm going to presume Baumgardner gets through that fight, because I do think she will. I think she'll become Undisputed. And what a story, by the way. I know when Baumgardner beat Mayer, Eddie Hearn said that Alicia was messaging him nonstop, like harassing them to some degree about give her an opportunity. Got the opportunity against Terry Harper when Choi didn't want it. And now look, she's literally changed her life in just over 12 months.
Yeah.
And with the potential of becoming Undisputed. So it just shows when you take your opportunities. So I'm super excited for that one. Let's say Baumgardner wins.
Yeah.
She's Undisputed champion. Will she then go, I'm going to give Mayer a rematch because it is worth a ton of money?
Yeah, the trouble is with that, it is worth a lot of money. And I think the temptation will be there. And I hope that does happen, because I really want to see that rematch. It's just how stubborn they can be. Because between, they can both be equally stubborn. And it is a real hate for each other, really. They really dislike each other. It's not a game. So, she could dig her heels in and say no. I could see that happening.
It's a funny one, isn't it? I really hope it does happen. Like I say, I'm glad it's not an immediate rematch. And, Michaela said herself, it makes no sense. She knows herself, like, you're not going to go, I don't want the Undisputed fight, I'll rematch Michaela straight away. It would then be nice for the rematch to be for Undisputed, because it was a shame the first one was for unification. It felt like an Undisputed fight. Everyone actually, I think Boxer themselves kept putting on the posters that they were sending out Undisputed. And then I kept checking BoxRec to see if Choi had vacated, but there was just confusion there. I think if Alicia Baumgardner doesn't face Mayer, I think she's potentially missing out on her biggest payday this year.
Yeah.
Because it's massive. That could headline in America. So another flight. So it's expensive here. But I think her only other option for me then is Pursuin.
Yeah.
Or Serrano. But Serrano, I don't see that happening. It's an option. That's one of the things that probably wouldn't happen. I don't see. I don't know, actually. Unless she goes, oh, I'll tell you what, I'm Undisputed at featherweight. I beat Katie Taylor at lightweight. I'll try the super featherweight.
Yeah.
I've become a 3-weight Undisputed champion now. I'll retire. I don't know. But I think for me, Amanda loves moving up and down the divisions, doesn't she? She's a 7-weight world champion, so why not? But I think realistically, Pursuin, or she'll vacate and move up. But then
move up.
But then you're vacating. This is the thing, though. You're vacating to an Undisputed champion where you're not necessarily guaranteed that opportunity to fight her. So then you've moved up. And I can't see Baumgardner moving up higher than lightweight. She's teeny tiny. Like, I don't know. So I think...
Yeah, that's true. She won't be going up high.
She's not going up to super welterweight, is she? So her options are more limited than Mayer's, because Mayer will eventually, I think she mentioned 147 potentially. Don't think she'll go higher than that, but that's obviously a couple more divisions. So I think I'd quite like to see the rematch at super featherweight, and then maybe in 12 months, maybe at lightweight, when they've probably got their own belts there, depending on what happens. So if not Pursuin. That'd be an unreal fight. Pursuing Baumgardner.
That would be amazing. I mean, any fight with Pursuing in it is amazing.
So chaotic. I love it. It's exhausting watching it, isn't it, against Pursuing? I know May is quite interested in the Pursuing fight.
Yeah. Because remember when I interviewed her last year, she was very interested in it. You know, just for the accolade of fighting the best, not for any particular belt.
Yeah, and that is something May has been quite thingy about. Is that, but obviously belts are nice, but as long as she's got the big fights, obviously I'm sure she wants to get paid correctly. She'll probably take any fight. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'd like the winner of these two though to face Michaela Mayer. I'd like her to have one more opportunity before then going, right, I'm done at super featherweight. I'm going to stick out lightweight. So
it would be nice.
Yeah. But we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to that undisputed fight, February 4th.
Yeah. And for the record, everyone went mad over our award for the ring walk because Alicia Baumgardner wasn't in it. It was, no disrespect, she had an awesome walkout, as did so many other fighters. And it was a case of if we had enough comments in the for say Alicia or someone else, we weren't just limiting it. I can't even say the word. Why can't I say
limiting it? Too many lines again.
We're just keeping it to the list that we said. We would have let obviously Alicia win if she had enough comments.
She actually did come second.
Oh, we go.
She did come second. Yeah, we got a lot of hate for not putting her on there.
We did.
That was my biggest regret. I'm not doing ring walk next year. It's too stressful.
What made me laugh is there was no controversy over the big ones like fighter, fight of the year. It was the ring walk.
Ring walk. I don't even think anyone would care about that.
People got passionate about it.
We even had like promoters and stuff messaging us in disgraced at us for not. I mean, I couldn't even work out whether some people were joking because I was like, you can't be this passionate. But Alicia Baumgardner comes second. It is a great ring walk, but the others just, Michaela Mayer had dancers because people were like, I can't believe out the two you've picked Michaela Mayer.
I think a little of it, or from my point of view, is that Spice Girls were my childhood. So for me, it was a special walkout because of that.
They can't be your childhood because they're my childhood. You're well older than me. You're like...
Ben, my teens are right.
they must be your teenagers because I went to Spice Girls when I was little. I've showed you the picture.
I was a teenager, all right.
You were in your 20s, Susie. Okay, let's put it right.
Maybe.
But yeah, I feel like next year for the awards, no ring walk because we offended so many people.
Yeah, maybe it could be an open category. People just throw their own choice.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out because that was terrifying. I nearly just quit altogether. Right, moving on to featherweight. So, like we've said, Amanda Serrano holds 4 of the belts. One of them is including the IBO, and then Erica Cruz holds the WBA. This fight obviously is taking place as the headline, Madison Square Garden, Hulu Arena, Theatre. Sorry, not Arena, Theatre. February 4th. We've already said we think Amanda Serrano is going to win.
Yeah, I mean, great fight. I think it would be exciting. But yeah, I think she's a clear winner.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll probably see the best Serrano I was going to say since Katie Taylor, but she's only had one fight. But I feel like that's the level that we're going to see her back at. She's been desperate for such a long time to become undisputed, and she's moved 7 weight divisions to do it. But we all know what the politics is like. And I'm not saying she was going for undisputed in all 7 weight divisions, but she has definitely tried a couple of times. And because of politics and one thing and another, she's not had the opportunity to fight for undisputed.
Yeah.
Obviously, featherweight is her natural weight, her more comfortable weight. And yeah, she just was never. I remember when I spoke to her quite a while back, and she just said she has no confidence that these fights can be made. And then next thing, she gets to Unify in Manchester.
Yep.
That was only because there was some money on the table, I think, for Sarah, because that fight just kept getting declined prior to that. So again, fair play to Jake Paul and MVP, who were obviously putting in money for these opponents. And obviously we know how I felt when Erica Cruz called out her mandatory
Oh, yeah.
over which I'll never ever forget. I think I mention it every week. But but obviously again, some good money's been put on the table between obviously Matchroom and MVP as well. So I'm very excited that it's happening. But yeah, I see Amanda Serrano. I'm going to put it out there. I think she's going to go back to a knockout days. I think she's going to get a stoppage.
I hope so. That'd be exciting.
Yeah.
But like, it would have been such a shame if Amanda Serrano, legendary fighter, top pound for pound fighter of all time, didn't weigh as undisputed in her career. So I'm so happy she's got this opportunity.
Yeah, it'd feel like an anticlimax, wouldn't it?
Mm.
She's been a pro for so long, because obviously she didn't do the amateur route and stuff like that. It kind of wasn't as accessible, obviously, when she was doing it. And so she became a pro so early on, and she's achieved so much. And only the last couple of years has probably got the recognition that she deserves. So yeah, it would have been a bit funny. I mean, she's not won it yet, but I think, you know, she's got the opportunity to end this year potentially as two-weight undisputed champion. I mean, she's got two massive fights lined up there in obviously Erica Cruz and Katie Taylor. So what a year that will be for her. And what will happen after that? I think these belts will be vacated.
Yeah, which would be great, because like we've said time and time again, the featherweight division is pretty exciting with all the up and coming pros. So I think it's going to be a division that's going to be extremely exciting over the next couple of years. So in some ways, I hope that does happen, because I think it will make that division even more competitive and exciting.
Yeah, I think this will end up being one of the hype divisions where there's just so much going on, and obviously they change all the time. You know, at one point it was super featherweight when there was like 3-4 fighters in there, and then it kind of went up to super welterweight, and then I feel like it'll be featherweight where there's so much going on, so many fighters. Obviously, you've got Raven Chapman, who we speak obviously highly of. She back end of the year has got potential. You've got Lucy Wildheart, Sky Nicholson, obviously, Karis Artingstall, Sophie Eilish, Tiara Brown.
Yeah.
Dark Horse and Tiara Brown. So loads. And I think Amanda Serrano will win the belt, and I think she'll vacate it. I think she'll defend that featherweight. So I think all them belts will then be open to fight for. And it's kind of like who gets in there first, especially when you've got Sky on Matchroom, Raven on BT, Karis probably won't be ready though, actually, I don't think, first. She only had 2 fights.
No, the other two. I think Sky will get an opportunity for a belt this year, and so will Raven.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, they're both, if it's vacated, I think they'll both hold a belt by the end of the year.
But really, when you look at it, out of all of them, Lucy Wildheart's the most experienced and already fought for a belt.
Yeah.
But politics, isn't it? But yeah, she's got an opportunity. So them belts could end up in, I mean, if you're going to include the IBO as well, they could end up in 5 different hands.
Yeah.
Which is what I like to start with and then filter it down.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they'll sit vacant too long because there's just too many opportunities, too many fighters in that division. And then it's a question of, will someone from Super Bantam move up? Yeah. Because, you know, so loads going on there. So I'm quite excited to see what will happen. This will be the one where when we put them pictures out, and obviously they're mainly Amanda Serrano, I think when we redo them towards the end of the year, it'll just be completely different faces. Yeah. They'll be what we call prospects last year are now world champions, which I think is super exciting.
Perhaps we can do like a little comparison piece where we do the 2 pictures side by side, beginning of the year, end of the year.
End of the year, yeah. And some will just say the exact same, like middleweight, Clarissa Shields. But I think something like featherweight, completely different, because I do believe I think they'll be vacated. I know like Raven would love to be in the ring with like Amanda Serrano, but with a lot of these fighters in all the divisions, I don't see the young, like this generation coming through fighting. Like I don't see the Sandy Ryan Chantal Cameron fight ever happening. I just feel like they're all at different stages, like
which naturally it should be like that. It shouldn't be suddenly jump up so quickly.
Yeah, so that's quite an exciting division. Super Bantamweight. This is like quite a funny one. Let me just get my pictures up. There we go.
because Seguin was stripped.
Yes. How mean is that, though?
It doesn't sound right to me at all, because she's been active. She had a fight lined up. I don't see why they stripped her, to be honest. I can see why she's upset. But she's got a shot, hasn't she? At the person, the champion. Is that right? Am I
actually don't know. I know she was stripped. She's injured, isn't she? So she couldn't fight.
Yeah, but then
the next thing she was just stripped, which I was just like, oh.
But she was stripped and she had a fight lined up anyway for like February or something.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? And then I don't really know how this division plays out, really. In general. I mean, we know Shanika Johnson, who holds the IBF, she was ordered to fight Ellie Scottney.
Yeah.
But nothing's come of that as of yet, has it?
No, but I see that happening, because obviously with Eddie pushing that'll happen, I think. I foresee winning that fight. What about you?
Who do you see winning?
Ellie Scottney.
I do, but I think it'll be a close fight. But I mean, I really like Ellie's career. I like how she's gone about it. I think if you look at her box track for me, or like her past opponents, she's probably the most impressive for me out of the younger ones coming through in who she's faced. I feel like she's stepped up each time, the right time and the right level.
Yeah.
She's been in a tough fight against Georgelina Guanini, who like roughed her up. Really tough fight. Some people had Guanini winning. I had Ellie winning, but it was close. And then that was it. Like, she's just been unreal ever since. Like, that must have been such a learning and like a turning point, I think, for her in quite a young career, of where she stepped it up ever since then. So even though she's not had tons of fights, Ellie Scottney, like you can tell she's very ready.
Yeah.
For a world level fight. And then, yeah, I mean, I rate Shanika Johnson. I think it'll be a good fight. But just Ellie brings just so much skill, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's the full package, I think, Ellie.
I see her at the moment, looking at who's around. I'd see her cleaning up the division, really, Ellie. Although saying that, I think Seguin, she needs to get another shot at the title back. And she shot at the title, get that title. I see it, those two, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you say, as it stands, yeah, you see Ellie Scottney. I mean, but she's another one down the line. You're potentially looking at some massive clashes if she be happy enough to move up to featherweight, which I think she would.
Yeah. She would.
You know, if you're looking at like in 12 months' time, if you're looking at people like Raven, Sky, Lucy Wildheart, Sophie, there's some massive, massive fights, isn't there? Whereas at the minute, kind of around Super Bantam, where Ellie's at, I feel like she's kind of like the only one coming through.
Yeah, I agree.
In that division, it feels a bit like a bit of a stale division, in the sense of like it's not being overly promoted. There's not tons happening, so I think Ellie will make something happen of it. Obviously, she gets great backing by Matchroom. So she probably does well and cleans up, and then it's a great opportunity for her to get this, this world level experience. And then I'd quite like to see her move up to featherweight once some of the other girls have come through as well. I think down the line, you're probably looking at Ellie. You're looking at top 10 pound for pound, aren't you, in the future?
Definitely. Another name that we've been talking about is Tycee Gallagher.
Yeah. She's not being active enough, though, has she?
No, she's not on the discussion for now, but it's just an up and coming, really.
Yeah, went close with Nina Hughes, didn't she? Split decision.
Her stock's risen because of that fight, actually.
Yeah.
Because
she's another one, though, you think, oh, God, if she had, like, the platform, how different her career would be.
Yeah, totally.
And it's such a shame, isn't it? Like, because it's one of them, isn't it? Sometimes it's who you know. And certain opportunities, but hopefully Tycee gets her opportunity, because she is good and she is in the mix for sure. Yeah, that's a good shout. We'll see, but yeah, Super Bantam just seems a bit of a funny one. Like, not a lot's happened with it.
Yeah, we could do with a few. I mean, it's one of those that could just turn around, like you say, 1 minute it's the division that's not a lot going on, and then by the end of the year it could be like the most exciting.
Yeah, It needs a refresh. I think Ellie Scottney will massively help refresh this division. And again, like I say, she could move up to featherweight, but also we've got bantamweight. People could move up from bantamweight to super bantam if the opportunity's there. So here's our champions.
Yeah.
For bantamweight. Obviously, we've got Nina Hughes, who's newly crowned. Let's start with Nina Hughes. So she's signed, obviously, now with Matchroom.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good at that. They won't sign you until you've got a belt. So you've got to work so hard on the small holes and fly into Dubai. But once you win that belt, we'll sign you. But I'm so pleased for Nina, as we said last week. Who is she fighting next? Is she going to have... Because I can't work out whether they're going to, like...
Well, it sounds like they've signed already. That's what the talk...
For the next fight, though?
Wow, that's the talk. So
this is what baffles me, right? And I can't remember if I've said it on live, but I've definitely said it to you. Because I like Shannon Courtney. I say all the time, I like her story. I like all of that. I genuinely find it quite ludicrous how she come back, hadn't even entered the ring with Gemma, who, by the way, took rounds off Shannon, made that fight a nightmare for Shannon at times, even though, again, Shannon Courtney's reaction shocked me a bit because she looked shocked at the scorecards. And I always get frightened, like, is she just a little bit delusional when she's in the ring sometimes? Because she felt like she won every round. And she just really didn't.
Is it a corner? The way that a corner talks to her?
I don't know. It's something, but prior to even getting in that ring, and it was a tough fight in the end, she's already speaking and saying out loud, well, I'm going to fight Nina, and then when I win that, I'm going to have my rematch with Ebony. And I'm like, wow, you, like, for me, if I was her team, I'd be like, well, first, see how you feel in the ring because you've just come back from 2 knee surgeries. First, after that, you feel okay. Can you even make bantamweight? Because that fight wasn't at bantamweight.
Was it at all?
And she struggles to make weight in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've made bantamweight. So she's fought Gemma. Right, now you've proven that you can make bantamweight. Now I'm going to put you in against an ex-world champion.
Yeah.
Right, now you're going to go and fight whoever's got the belt. I find it ludicrous that she is even talking about a world champion. And I think it's quite disrespectful to Nina Hughes that you think after a very close performance against Gemma, which she obviously didn't feel like was close, that you're going to go straight to Nina. No, don't see it. Don't understand that logic. Because she loses again. It is such a long way back.
I can imagine it happening though. That they just think, I can just see it happening. I agree with you totally. Everything you're saying, but it just like that's what they're planning, and I can imagine them pushing her into this fight too soon, really.
Because what baffles me is like she come back as like a changed person, and she done one interview, and she come across lovely, and it was nice, and I thought because I think she is a lovely person, but I've always said I think she needs media training because sometimes I think she can just rub people up the wrong way. But then she has went off and done some TV stuff, and then she's come back and interviews quite well.
Yeah.
But then what she said has kind of contradicted her actions. So then I'm like, oh, because she was like, I feel like I was rushed to world level. But now you've only come back and done one fight, so I don't understand what that 6-rounder or 8-round, can't remember, at a completely different, well, like a few pounds heavier. Yeah. What relevance is that to being ready to fight Nina Hughes?
Yeah, you are right.
I just don't get the logic again. So I think there's a huge issue with the team there. I don't get it. But I always am a bit dubious about the team because the corner, like she was so shocked when the scorecards got read against Gemma. She was really shocked when she got beat to Jamie Mitchell, and
the complete shock.
At least like fair play to someone like Rick Ramos, who was very honest in the corner, saying to Jessica McCaskill, like, you've not turned up, you're not winning these rounds. Joe Gallagher, very open and honest in the corner.
It could be what works for her, of course, if they know her well.
It's not, is it, though? Because it was that fight against Gemma was too close, in my opinion, for what she was expecting. She lost against Jamie Mitchell. It's not working.
But then I can imagine when she loses her head big time, doesn't she?
Mm.
So I can imagine them saying, "Well, you've lost this round." And she'll be like, "Oh."
Yeah, fuck it, I'm not doing the fight now.
But seriously, I can imagine it just going really downhill if she just suddenly. But
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I'm no boxing coach. I just don't like what I see in the corner at times, and I don't think it is working.
yeah,
But yeah, for me, don't get it, don't like it.
but you know, anyone listening to this thinks what you know we're going on about Shannon, but actually we both really rate her.
No, I
And
do.
when she's on it, when she's made weight, she's been away, locked up for training camp. When she's locked in a hotel, on it. When she enters that ring, she's exciting. I like watching her fight. She can fight,
She's
and
got a great style. Like, I love watching Shannon Courtney fight. I really, really do enjoy it. I'd rather see her at super bantam. I don't like seeing her weight drained at bantam.
yeah,
I think it's obvious she struggles.
and I don't see pushing it there because there's opportunity at super bad. Like we just,
That's what I mean. It's like a bit open there, isn't it? And I tell you what, there's a nice little rivalry, well, a quiet one, I suppose, between Shannon Courtney and Ellie Scottney, in the sense
yeah.
of they are ex-stable mates. I don't think they don't like each other, but they certainly aren't like best friends, are they? Going for coffees and stuff. You could easily turn that into a rivalry. So I don't know. I just don't like it. And it's not that I don't like Shannon Courtney. I don't like, and it's not her. It's what's happening to her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not her at all. It's the people around her. I feel like potentially could ruin her career a little bit, because I feel like if she loses again at world level, that's a long, long road.
Yeah.
3 losses would not, you know, she's whatever, however many wins, 9 wins. So strange one. But we've got Nina Hughes. Ebony Bridges, obviously out injured. Is she expected to return when? in half a year's time, or?
Yeah, I think she said something about August, something like that.
Wow, that's a long time.
Time is long recovery from. Yeah, so how her recovery goes, but that's the kind I think she's been giving her recovery.
So, which I'm not surprised, because she was posting pictures, wasn't she, like post surgery, which was grim. So obviously a horrible operation that takes a long time. But I wonder if that will slow Shannon down, in the sense of there's no rush for that summer. Like, because no way you could ask Ebony then to come back from that surgery to fight in a unification fight. Surely she would need a fight and then a unification fight at the end of the year.
Yeah, the world, definitely.
So I wonder if that could potentially slow Shannon down, because I feel like there was a bit of a rush to be like, right, I'm going to get this title and then we can have this big summer fight. And
be left behind.
Yeah, so a bit of a strange one, but again, I suppose we'll see what happens. You've also got Dina Thorsland as well in this division.
Yeah, who would love to fight everyone. Fight.
I know, I always feel really sad for Dina, because like she probably was like, I just want to unify and then try and become undisputed, and she's like, no one wants to fight me, like, ever.
No. From what her team say, because they're quite vocal on Instagram, her team, it sounds like they've tried very hard to get Luna fight, and it's just been rejected all the time. Yeah, and she tried Jamie Mitchell. That didn't happen. So, yeah, I feel for her, because it would be nice for her to get some of those fights, because she obviously wants to unify, like you say.
She's so good, Dina Thorsland. She is so, so good. Yeah, it is a shame. Like I said, I don't really know what Luna's doing. Don't know what her plans are. I mean, you've then got Nina and Dina. Oh, well, rhymes. Lovely. Love that. That's a unification fight.
Yeah, but they are the same management, Leeton.
Yes.
I believe he's been like, where he don't want them fighting too soon. It's going to be he predicts them two to be undisputed. So his plan in his head is that they beat their half of the divisions each. You know what I mean? They both win, unify, and then they come undisputed. That's his vision.
Which, yeah, would be unreal. But obviously, then you are banking on a lot, I suppose, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not even like necessarily winning the fights, I suppose, just getting the fights made. That's more of a battle than actually just winning in the ring.
Yeah.
you know. And obviously Ebony's out now. I mean, realistically, Ebony won't fight any of them for 11 months because of that injury, realistically.
I
And
agree.
then Luna doesn't particularly seem overly keen.
She needs big money to get her out of Mexico.
Yeah, so I just feel like you're banking a lot on something that potentially might not happen anytime soon. So it just feels like I get the dream of it, like how amazing it would be. But sometimes I feel like you're waiting. I never like the concept of having to wait and rely on other people in boxing because just so much can go wrong. Yeah, we'll see. And then obviously you've got Melissa as well.
Yeah.
Melissa Parker.
Shame that we're not seeing more of her and she's concentrating more on her. I can understand why she's in the MMA more, because she's just been so much trouble with boxing. It's just problem with that motor, not being able to get the fights or the respect. But yeah, I'd love to see her coming back. I mean, realistically, do we see her getting almost stripped of this belt if she doesn't have a fight soon?
Probably.
I don't know, because I don't want that to happen, because I love watching Melissa Parker. But it's a case of not a lot's happening there, is it?
No, it just seems a shame. Like I put on social media the fight I'd like, which was Lisa Whiteside. And Melissa, I know Lisa Whiteside is super keen to get her career moving, super keen to go for a world title. That one makes the most sense, where in theory I thought it'd just be a bit easier to make because Dina Thorson's tied up, Nina seems tied up, Luna doesn't, I don't know what she's doing. So I'd quite like that fight, to see them both fight. I think if Melissa doesn't fight soon, she will have to be stripped because there are other people coming through. So yeah. And like I say, I know it's the IBO, people have mixed opinions, but you've got someone like Lisa Whiteside, who I think has been banging on the door trying to get some world title fights, and it's not super easy for her. So there's a route in straight away, isn't it? So I'd like to see that.
It gets you noticed, doesn't it, by having that belt? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in, like, say, in women's boxing, I do think it is different. I think it is perceived at higher than it is in men's. And I know it's not part of Undisputed, but you are still a world champion, and you know you can call the shots a little bit more than if you're not. It's as simple as that.
One other thing that's become a little bit of a problem for some fighters now is the whole issue around Probellum, because I believe they've gone bust now. So therefore, where does it leave fighters like Lisa Whiteside?
Yeah, I mean, Probellum was a funny one, wasn't it? Because it was kind of come after the MTK thing, so it was a bit like basically MTK, and then all of that crazy stuff going on. So many fighters. It was quite heartbreaking that when you think about how many fighters who, for instance, with MTK were just left. Then these fighters signed with Probellum.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, I know Lisa's last fight was on Wasserman Boxing.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? Because of Lisa's age, I know, like, Boxer aren't keen, Matchroom, they just don't seem, until you come with a belt, like Nina Hughes, no one wanted to sign her until she won that world title. No one. I don't know if Lisa's going to have the same issue, but she can get on Wasserman Boxing. They've got great shows.
Yeah.
They've got a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
Could they potentially get someone like Melissa or the IBO if it's vacated or whatever? But I don't know what she's doing, because she's not officially, like, signed with Wasserman Boxing. I just know she was on their card.
I suppose her manager, isn't it, Sam Jones?
Yes.
So he's got a lot of ties, isn't he, to Wasserman? So you'd think that's something.
Yeah, he's got tons of contacts in general, hasn't he? And Lisa comes with, like, bags of experience as well, doesn't she? Obviously, as an amateur. So yeah, but it's a shame. But yeah, I had heard about Probellum, but wasn't a shock, I don't think, to most people, considering. But it's left a lot of boxers with nothing then.
Shame.
Yeah. So a strange one.
What I'm going to suggest is because we've been loving chatting. It's quite late, isn't it? So I'm wondering whether we should leave the rest of the divisions, leave people on a cliffhanger for next week.
Let's do it.
Because I'm sorry to everyone at home, but it's because we've been enjoying chatting about each division so much.
So you've got to come back next week for super flyweight, light flyweight, minimum weight, atom weight, and I've got a feeling we're going to have some fights announced throughout this week. So we're going to talk about them as well.
Because we've obviously got Caroline Dubois, who's just been announced today.
Yes. Again.
11th of February. Again, I can't pronounce it.
No, I know her name though. So Terry Harper faced her in Terry's like lightweight debut. Good step up for Caroline. This will be a good fight. See how she gets on. Will she get the stoppage or not? Which she's proven that she can do time and time again. So yeah, I feel like this week goes on, more and more fights are going to be announced.
Yeah.
So we'll have that to talk about. Yeah, so everyone has to come back for the rest of the divisions next week.
Yes.
Right, see you then. Have a good week.